speaker, members of this house. I'm nervous, I'm excited because it's the semifinals of ALSA and I'm against someone that I coach. But we think we're strong, not only because we offer a lot of POI that mainly goes rejected, but because we have better arguments on 3 prongs. First of all, about whether or not religion is more important than life in itself. We think that is true. Second of all, about doctors' responsibility and how they go in extent. And lastly, about the social implications. Let's go through them one by one. First of all, discussing about the sanctity of life they believe. They've never responded to our point that life per se, as important, is something that only Madonna believes in her song Material Girl. For other people who believe in Islam, for other people who believe in Jehovah's Witness, your belief to God, your belief in an eternal life, your belief in that life after death, something that goes beyond material life, is something that is all the more important. And biological life, as the most important thing, is merely an ideology that is exclusive to liberal governments. We think that liberal governments allow the people within their spheres to believe in something else, to believe in afterlife, ladies and gentlemen, and that is something that's extremely important. If I were to live intactly in my life, because of this surgery, I don't think, as a religious believer, that I will live the better afterlife. I will think that I'm going to hell. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't want people to be afflicted by this psychological burden for the rest of their life. How do you respond to that, sir?
I might be in a very depressed situations when I have bad grades, but government prevents me from suicide because it's all about lives and contribution to society.
No, I don't get why. I mean, if you're sick and then you go to the hospital and then you're healed with the way you don't want to, and then you get an irreversible change to your body that you think makes you poor, you will do suicide, ladies and gentlemen, and that is what we don't want. To force people to end their life because the government tells them to by doing this surgery. That is just crazy. But first of all, the craziest thing that they say is that when people are sick, they're not rational anymore. That is crazy because people make decisions based on pressure and sickness all the time. In hospitals, you're afflicted with, say, cancer. You can still choose whether or not you want to go to chemotherapy, whether or not you want to take a heart transplantation or whatever transplantation, whatever surgery, even you want to go to herbal medicine, for instance, because chemos don't work anymore. You're still allowed to do that. If you have a heart disease, meaning that you might be distressed because you have a heart disease, you can still choose whether or not to have an open heart surgery or other less invasive surgeries. That is choices we allow in hospitals. So I don't understand. Just because people are a little bit distressed because of their sickness, they lose all points of rationality. They're not coma, they're not crazy, ladies and gentlemen. We think they still have a sense of rationality. But second of all, we think that it's even more derogatory when they say that religion in itself is an irrational choice. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people here wear veils, including some prime ministers of one side of the house. And we don't think that that kind of choice is entirely irrational too. Maybe that is not based on scientific beliefs, but it is based on something else. People choose to fast. People choose to ask to go out of their works for times of praying Zuhur and Ashab. Ladies and gentlemen, is that entirely scientific? No, they're not. But maybe they're not, ladies and gentlemen. But we think we still allow that as a government for them to make these kind of choices because we believe these choices contribute to these people's meaning of life. So we think it's important. And then they further on say, people can live, they can do other type of things that can enhance their life, like doing charity. But why is the government imposing charity over sanctity of life of one individual, over individual rights of them to determine what kind of life they want to have? Ladies and gentlemen, we don't think the government imposition is correct. Now, furthermore, the last part of this rebuttal would be to say their precedences on how they say religion is trumped all the time in first world countries, banning circumcision, banning religious sacrifices and animal slaughter. We think this is a lie. Animal slaughter is simply an issue of hygiene. You can do animal slaughter if you do it hygienically, not behind doors and in caves and with stones. Ladies and gentlemen, in USA, that's what happened. And circumcision is done all the time in kids' bar mitzvah or in the Jewish community when they circumcise their kids all the time, so basically it's not banned. We think that's rubbish. But furthermore, when they say about removing anorexia websites and banning dangerous initiation rituals, we think this is banned because it applies towards teenagers, towards children, towards people who might not be afflicted and know their rights already. But ladies and gentlemen, this is exclusive to this policy because we think this policy afflicts adults, afflicts people who are already of age, making decisions for their own. Why do you have to still impose your choices to them? We think that's entirely derogatory. And furthermore, the last prong of rebuttal would be to say that if people believe in orthodoxy, say Jehovah's Witness, they say that this is entirely irrational. Don't you think that is totally condemning some parts of the minority? Don't you think that you're saying that this type of minority is worthy to be discriminated and treated differently like any other, and their belief has less respect from the government than any other belief? We don't want that, ladies and gentlemen, because we don't think the government should discriminate. Yes?
Now, the government's aggressive effort in subsidizing universal healthcare and other kinds of social safety network.
But you can opt out of those systems. Why can't you opt out? If you cannot opt out, you're Russia as a government. And we think I, as a democratic citizen, I would want my government never to impose anything absolutely. If I don't want the government to do this on me, I would have to have that choice, because that is what democracy is about. Second response, ladies and gentlemen, about doctors. First of all, they never really responded to our points on how people might be alienated to go to hospitals. Ladies and gentlemen, they simply say this is going to be a very, very minor case. Even though it's minor, the moment people don't go to hospitals, they're at danger, they're at risk. So we want to still invite people to go to hospital and make their own choices, instead of letting them to go to illegal clinics, for instance, that might harm them even more, ladies and gentlemen. But second of all, it's not only about people not going to hospital at all, but also because of delay, ladies and gentlemen. When people have symptoms, normal flu, like what Kirana said, they might not want to go to the doctor, or they might not want to go to the hospital because they might be given alcohol, or they might be given blood transfusion that they don't want to. What does this lead to? This leads to very, very early recognition of one's symptoms of danger. For example, a cancer patient might realize that they're too late to realize their cancers because they don't want to go to the doctor early because of this religious concern. Ladies and gentlemen, this is dangerous. You're removing the rights of a lot of people to go to hospitals simply because you fear them, that your hospital is like what they claim, very, very aggressively imposing their beliefs on you, and we don't want that to happen in regards of the rights of people to live healthfully. But second of all, it's about respect. When they say that doctors should be respected, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, you should respect your doctor in terms of not yelling at your doctors, not slapping your doctors in the face. But it doesn't mean that you have to pay this respect with your life, with your whole ideology of your religion. Second is, where's the reciprocation? If parents have to respect their doctors, when can the doctor respect the choice that the patient made? We think it's now. The time is now when it's the patient's whole ideology at stake, and that's where doctor has to respect too. We demand doctors to pay reciprocation. Lastly, they care about doctors' trauma. Well, first of all, it's doctors' job to heal sick people. If they are fearing of seeing deaths, don't become a doctor. Become a debater, because no one dies because of debating, ladies and gentlemen. But second of all, if they care about the trauma of doctors, why don't they care about the trauma of patients that is afflicted by one surgery done to their body irresponsibly, ladies and gentlemen? We think doctors' job is to heal, not to impose beliefs. And lastly, when they say the doctor will be reluctant to heal religious patients because they're too noisy, we think this is an argument of doctor not healing old ladies because they're too noisy. So we basically don't think that doctors' reluctance will happen because they are under that oath. So ultimately, we believe that religion is still important. You have to really